As some of you might have noticed, I stood up when she asked about playing more than 10-hour games per week. And some of you might actually remember me from a session last year when I did a lightning speech on gaming and networking. Because I had managed to combine two of my great interests in a professional way. And I'm on the board of a game company. And at that time, I was working a lot with that game developer and helping them. Okay, so to the agenda today. A short update, but I thought I'd start with a question some of you might have. Who is this guy and where did he come from? So I thought I'd give you a brief background on me, what I've done besides playing games that might be more relevant to what we're doing here today. And even if I didn't know any Taylor Swift songs, I might know some other embarrassing songs, but my kids have all moved out of home, so I don't get to hear the latest, trendiest songs anymore. I still listen to the old rock songs from way back when. I guess your brain kind of gets stuck in a certain pattern at a certain age, and you want to hear those patterns again to make you feel comfortable. Anyway, a few slides on me and what I've done previously, and I've been the CEO of Netnod for almost exactly 12 days, 9 hours, and 22 minutes. But who is counting? And I must say, it's been really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to this. For me, it's partly going back to my roots, where I spent a lot of my time around during the 90s. But before that, originally, I have a master's degree in computer science. I started doing compiler design. I did some operating system scheduler algorithms to optimize for special application. And I really thought I was going to be an engineer doing deep technical things all my life. It didn't last very long, because in those days, in the mid-'80s, it wasn't that easy to find. You couldn't Google who is developing an operating system or who is developing a compiler. You had to know people, and I didn't know anybody. The only projects that were around were with Ericsson, and I did my final thesis with them, and then I kind of realized I don't want to work there. Anyway, to make a long story short, the first half of my life I spent with American companies, and being a young guy at a big company like IBM, which is a very conservative company, when we started to get our first customers talking about internet and TCP/IP in the late 80s, most of the real IBMers went, "Oh, that's some crap. Nobody is ever going to use that." But I was the young, enthusiastic guy that thought, "Oh, new technology, great, I'll take care of that." So no strategy, no planning, no anything. I became responsible for some early IP projects within IBM, which led me to the path that eventually led me to Cisco, when Cisco started moving into the old conservative customers, which I knew because I could speak two languages. I could speak the old conservative bank IT language, and I could speak the new language. So that's why. And for those who were around in those days, it was not obvious in the early 90s the commercial value of internet. I was literally thrown out from customers that said, "I don't have time to talk to you anymore. Over my dead body, we will see IP in the bank. And by the way, I'm meeting my IBM rep, so I don't have time to talk to you anymore." It's very interesting to 18 months later talk to the same head of IT for the same bank and talk about the strategic value of the next generation IP network for the bank. I didn't mention anything about his dead body. I didn't think that would give me any plus points, so I kind of skipped that. But we both knew. I looked him into the eyes, and I think we both knew that 18 months ago, it was a different discussion. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I did both managerial and technical and sales and marketing. I spent a lot of my time in front of whiteboards, PowerPoints. Some of my engineers at Cisco, they complain that you talk for an hour and then we have to spend 9 months implementing the stuff you convinced the customer to buy. but at least I knew enough to know when I was lying. That was so in 2000, or in late 90s, I got involved with startups. And my first experience to startups was working with Cisco, buying startups to get new interesting technology and new brains into the company. And by a coincidence, I got involved in a Swedish startup. And I got involved in another startup. I became an advisor to a startup. So I decided to leave Cisco, and for the last 15 years, if the first period of my life was with a big corporation, the second period of my life, or after halftime, has been with smaller companies. I've been involved in a number of companies, a lot of them startups, in technology areas with a few exceptions, and I've been actively helping the companies grow, create an organization, sell, market, get money, finance the company, and take them to the new level. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details of all of the company, and this is actually not all of the companies. You might recognize a few, like Transmode, Packetfront, and some other Accelerated, some Swedish startup in networking-related areas. On the top is the game company I mentioned, which I spoke about last year. And next week, I have to give a bit of commercial, because next week we're releasing a game. We spent 100 man years, 50 man, 2 years in developing a game we're releasing next Friday called Vermintide. It's so fantastic and so scary. I'm on the board. I have a small part of developing that game. I think it's the biggest independent Swedish or Northern Europe game production ever. So it's scary and very interesting for release next Friday, 23rd. Oh, yeah. But as I said, since a couple of weeks back, I'm CEO of Netnod. I'm really enjoying myself so far, and I'm going to continue help to make sure that we both continue to deliver the high-quality services we deliver today, and also develop new services and add features and services to the services we have. So enough of that. Enough of who Stefan is. I'm not going to bore you or put a lot of numbers and a lot of charts, but I want to share some information with you anyway. As you all know, whether we do anything or not, it seems like the internet keeps growing. And I just want to share some numbers with the traffic is continuing to grow in our exchange points. We're continuing to adding new customers, more 100 gig connections, both existing customers and new customers. And so the basic growth is still there. And we don't see any change in this trend. It'll continue to grow. So this is one of the foundation of what we're doing, and it will continue to be a very important part, and we will continue to make great efforts in this area. I will return to that. As you all know, we also run one of the root servers, but it came as a surprise to us that only 20% of our customers in our survey knew that we were running one of the root servers. That was quite a surprise. But that's on us. We haven't been if we don't tell people the things we do and things we do to help the internet run smoothly beside the exchange points, it's on us. And we're running our DNS services from more than 50 locations in the world. And the last year, we've been busy doing a number of things. One of the things we've been working a lot on the last year, Patrick will talk about after me. We also have a lot of interesting new capabilities and new service capabilities in our DNS services, but that's for later, or not the date. We're not going to announce that today. And we're also starting working with how are we going to deliver our IX services going forward. What kind of services do our customers require going forward? And we're working with that as well, and we have looked for input from you, and we will be looking for more input from you, how we can optimize our services for your needs. That's, in short, what I had planned to go through this morning. I'm really hoping that all of you that want to have questions to me, look me up during today, tonight, tomorrow, and make sure I answer your questions. I promise, if I don't know the answer, I will say, sorry, I don't know the answer, but I'll do my very best to give all the answers I can, whether it's about me, Netnod, our plans, or what we're doing. I'll do my very best to answer any questions. If I can't, I'll promise I'll get back to you at a later stage. With that, I'd like to leave the stage to the next speaker. Or Norani, you want to...
Yeah, any questions at all to Stefan before we...
Yeah, any questions from the floor before we start, or we can take them one-on-one later on. Either is fine.
Yes. Do we have a roving mic or... Yeah, great.
Yeah, we should.
No, because we're web streaming this, so...
You said you studied at Linköping University.
Yes.
Were you ever a member of the computer club Lisator?
Yes.
Excellent.
But I must say I spent more time with the arranging parties. And one of the parties we started in 1982, which is a dart party with competition with parties. They're still running it today. And that's one of the proudest achievements in my life, that a party I started in 1982 is still being held every year. And I'm regularly invited. I went down there last year together with 2 friends and my oldest son's ex-girlfriend and her friends. We named the team Dirty Old Men, and we won the competition. So we show the youngsters that the old guys still can do it. Any more questions? As I said, feel free to ask me anything, anytime you want. The later it gets tonight, the more interpretation the answers might need, but I guess the questions might need some interpretation as well. So, great. The floor is yours, Patrick.
Okay.
Ah.
Thanks a lot, Stefan.